Hey everyone, welcome to the first ever episode of the Colorado Geographer. My name is Sumner, and in this channel we're going to take a look at the control cities for all of the Colorado state highways, as well as all of the U.S. and interstate highways, as well as some other highways throughout the country. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the control cities for Colorado 1, which I've never actually driven on this highway, but this highway is not terribly long. It's only like, 10 miles, and I figured this would be a great way to start off this channel. So anyway, if you like driving, please make sure to give this video a like and leave a comment telling me what your favorite drive is. Also, please make sure to subscribe to this channel. Anyways, let's get into it. Colorado Highway 1 is just over 10 miles long and runs from US 287 and Colorado 14 in northern Fort Collins to I-25 and US 87 in Wellington. We're right now on US 287 northbound and Colorado 14 westbound. They're both concurrent, and we are approaching Colorado 1 here on College Avenue. Up here we can see that Colorado 1 is signed north for Wellington, which originally this sign did not exist. This was put up probably, I think, 2 years ago, and I actually really like it because originally it just said 1 without any direction. So I like that 1 is being signed north for Wellington here. We do get Wellington as the only city that is signed on the mileage sign here in 10 miles. I like it because it makes sense. It's the only city that Highway 1 goes through besides Fort Collins, but I don't like it when there's only one city signed for a mileage sign. I prefer if there was two, so this is what I would have. I would also sign Cheyenne, even though that the quicker way to Cheyenne is just to take 14 to I-25. I would still sign Cheyenne, just because 2 is a little bit better. Here on Colorado 1, here at northern Fort Collins, this road is called Terry Lake Road as it runs along Terry Lake, which Terry Lake has a lot of nice houses. And a little bit up the ways up Colorado 1, we meet the Country Club Drive intersection. This is the way to get to the Fort Collins Country Club, which was, you can see here, the clubhouse was built in 1959. Even though it doesn't look like it, it's still a really, really nice clubhouse. This is what Colorado 1 looks like just outside of Fort Collins here. Just a lot of plains. Also 50-mile-an-hour speed limit. This is not an incredibly fast highway to drive on. And about 4 miles up the road, Terry Lake Road is going to split off of Colorado 1 for Waverly, and we are co-signed for Wellington and Cheyenne, which this does make sense. I do like having, again, as I talked about, I do like having Cheyenne on there. And a little ways up the road, we get our fastest speed limit on Colorado 1, which is 55 miles an hour. Not sure if that makes a ton of sense, though. I can see why it's 55. Probably should be 60, though. This is our approach into Wellington, as we're getting closer here. And welcome to Wellington. It's not a huge town. It's only about 12,000 people in it. Here in Wellington, Colorado 1 is signed as Cleveland Avenue, and this is a look at downtown Wellington here. And nope, the most confusing part of Colorado 1 is the school zone. I don't understand why the school zone is even signed. The school itself is like 5 blocks north of here. This makes no sense to me whatsoever. I really don't like this. But for those of you who have seen this before and know why, please leave a comment down below. I'd like to hear your input. This is the only stoplight in Wellington that's not an intersection with I-25. This is here on 6th Street and Cleveland Avenue. And immediately after that stoplight, we are approaching I-25. And we are meeting up with I-25 and US 87 here. I-25 North is signed for Cheyenne, which makes sense, and Southbound is signed for Fort Collins. Fort Collins is good, but here's the thing. Nobody's going to drive on Colorado 1 northbound from Fort Collins to take I-25 back to Fort Collins. I feel like Denver should also be on here because, in my opinion, signing 25 South Fort Collins on a road that goes to Fort Collins does not make sense to me. This is what I have here. I have 2587 signed north for Cheyenne and 2587 signed south for Fort Collins and Denver co-signing both. And, of course, we all know the horribleness that is US 87. It is not signed at all in Colorado. We're going to talk about 87 later on this channel when we get to the US highways. And technically we have already reached the northern terminus of Highway 1, but we do get this sign on the frontage road, which is literally directly after the on-ramp for I-25 North. We do get Highway 1 signed here on the frontage road. There is no End 1 sign. There should have been one probably before, but that was on by what I would have. Anyways, let's turn back around and head back to Fort Collins. We're currently on southbound I-25 and US 87, and we get this really nice sign for Colorado 1 South, which this was put up in 2022. It was originally just one of those signs that comes up from the ground. This is a really nice overhead sign, and I really do like it. And one is signed south for Wellington, which I like this. And I especially like that it's an overhead sign because this is the only exit in Wellington that I-25 serves. There's no other exits to get to Wellington, so this is it. So having one South Wellington on an overhead sign, I really, really do like that. Up here on the exit ramp, we turn right for Wellington. Probably should have Cleveland Avenue on there as well, just because one is going to be Cleveland Avenue here. This is our first reassurance shield with no directional. We don't get one south, we just get one. Okay. On the right of Southbound Colorado 1, we pass by the historic Wellington Manor, which this was originally built for the mayor of Wellington in 1906, but he never actually got to live in it because he apparently committed some crime that I don't even remember, and he was actually sent to jail for it. And this was sold to the former Fort Collins mayor, and then he eventually turned it into an inn, and nowadays it is actually a full-day salon and spa, and supposedly you can actually get married here. Looks like a really nice building. This is downtown Wellington facing the other way. I missed this northbound intentionally, but we do get a sign here saying Wellington, Colorado's northern gateway, which I think this is pretty cool. I think this is supposedly the northernmost Colorado city that's above 10,000 people. We do not get a mileage sign south of Wellington, which I really don't like. There should be at least something. Even though that the quicker way to Fort Collins, as we talked about, is to take I-25, I think Fort Collins should at least be here because this is the way to get to downtown Fort Collins from Wellington. So this is what I would sign here. I would sign Fort Collins as our secondary in 10 miles and Loveland as our primary in 24. There's nothing between Fort Collins and Loveland, so that's what I would sign. Much of southbound Colorado 1 gets these really great views of these mountains here, and there's a lot of expensive houses off of Colorado 1 as well. In fact, the most expensive house in Fort Collins is just off of Colorado 1. It's near the turnoff of Terry Lake Road. Here's a better look at these mountains. Drive looks probably more beautiful in person than it does using Google Street View, so if you ever get a chance to drive this road, I definitely recommend it here. We're meeting up with Terry Lake Road. Again, Terry Lake Road is signed for Waverly, and we don't get a sign for Fort Collins, which there probably should be, even though I'm okay with it not being there. I mean, it probably should be there, but I'm okay with it not. And this is also, again, the way to the most expensive house in Fort Collins. Here we have 1 mile left, and we can see the houses near Terry Lake. We're currently approaching US 287 and Colorado 14 as College Avenue, signed for Fort Collins and Laramie, and we also get a sign for CSU, turn left here in the background. I do like this, though. I do agree with it. Laramie and Fort Collins. I think a better sign, though, for 287 North and 14 West would be co-signing Laramie and Steamboat Springs to acknowledge where 14 goes, but I think Laramie just by itself is good enough for me because Steamboat Springs is a long ways away from here, and it's not the quicker way to Steamboat, so I think just signing Laramie here by itself is okay enough. Here's a better look at the Terry Lake Road College Avenue intersection, and this is where Colorado 1 ends on the south side. And about a block south of the Colorado 1 terminus, we enter into the Fort Collins city limits, also known as Rams Country. All right, now let's take a look and see at what I would sign this highway as. So at the end of each video, I'm going to do what's called Sumner's Control City Picks, which basically means this is what I would choose to sign the highways for. So let's take a look at Sumner's Control City Picks for Colorado Highway 1. I like Colorado 1 pretty much as it is for the most part. Northbound should be signed Wellington, and then co-sign Wellington Cheyenne after the Terry Lake Road split. Southbound, I would sign Wellington, and then outside of Wellington, we should be signed for Fort Collins. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with this? Do you disagree with anything? Let me know. Next week, we're going to take a look at Colorado Highway 2, which is Colorado Boulevard, and we also get a glimpse of how awful CDOT's is with ending certain Colorado highways. Anyways, once again, if you enjoyed this, please feel free to give a like and subscribe. This is Sumner signing off for the Colorado Geographer, and I will see you guys next week.